After Phil Mickelson completed his victory in the 1990 U.S. Amateur at Cherry Hills Country Club outside Denver, he began to think about his debut in the Masters tournament the following April. Any amateur player would. There are only a few events in which they can garner an invitation to the year's first major. Mickelson soon would go on to qualify a second wave in early 1999 when, still an amateur and attending Arizona State, he captured the PGA Tour's Northern Telecom Open. Nevertheless, he made up his mind long before the now best to prepare for his first Masters. He called Arnold Palmer, especially because I had won at Cherry Hills, where he had won the U.S. Open in 1960. I had that connection to him, and of course he was, typical Arnold, just so nice, and he agreed to play with me the first day I got there. That was the Monday of tournament week in 1991. They met at the appointed time that morning, and Mickelson paid homage to the king the best way he knew how, by peppering the four-time Masters winner with questions, probing the mind of a man who is familiar with practically every inch of the property. Well, you know me, of course I asked him a bunch of questions, said Mickelson, who is preparing next week to make his 27th appearance at the Augusta National Golf Club. I mean, the course has changed so much, even when compared to when he was winning his Masters, but he understood the course so well and what you're supposed to do. Mickelson recalled the conversation as they got to the 7th hole. Back then, the tee was pretty far up, Lefty said, and he said, I always hit driver here. I figured if I'm hitting it well enough to win, then I'm hitting it well enough to get in that narrow fairway, and then I have a wedge in my hand and I can make birdie. He said that green was such a tough green that he wanted to have the shortest club in his hands possible, and he was always thinking birdie. Mickelson claims the underlying message from that day has been a guiding influence since his first Masters, when he finished tied 46th and won the Silver Cup as low amateur. He points to that first day at Augusta National with Palmer as a key to later winning 3 green jackets himself. Here are the stories of a few Masters competitors on their first visit to play the Masters course. Jack Nicklaus, 45 starts, winner in 1963, 65, 66, 72, 75, 86. My first time at Augusta was in 1959, the latter part of March, about a week before my first Masters. I played with the great friend of mine from Columbus, Bob Obetz, who was the best man in my wedding, and a guy named Alec Osborne. I drove down from Ohio with Bob, who was a good golfer. He was a teammate at Ohio State, and we pulled into the club, and of course we were pretty overwhelmed by it. I didn't realize at the time that I couldn't bring a guest, but Mr. Osborne kind of stepped in and hosted Bob. He took care of everything and made it seamless, and we played a few days before some of the other amateurs started to arrive and I'd move into the crow's nest. It was fantastic, and I still get shivers thinking about it the first time we drove down Magnolia Lane. We were in awe, and of course that feeling has never left me. Zack Johnson, 14 starts, winner 2007. I didn't play for the first time until Tuesday of my first Masters in 2005. It should have been 2004 because I won in Atlanta, but that was the year they changed the qualification so winners didn't get in. In 06, they changed it back. Anyway, in 05, we played, I think, a 54-hole tournament in Atlanta, and we played 36 holes on Monday. I got to Augusta on Tuesday, went out with Stewart Cink, and I birdied the first hole. You know, how hard can this be, right? And we just kind of went around and played and then went out the next day, and then I remember being paired with Marco Mira. I think I hit 75% of my greens in regulation and 80% of my fairways and missed the cut by a ton. The first day, he hit it terrible and beat me by like 12 shots. Actually, 9, 81 to 72. I learned a lot about where to go and where not to go that I didn't learn in the practice rounds. Augusta National. So cool. Bubba Watson, 10 starts, winner 2012, 14. I was at the University of Georgia, and we went there end of February or early March as a team in 2000. Don't remember who I played with, but we played a competition, kind of. I double bogeyed the first hole, and I wanted to stop right there. I was thinking, can we start over? I was so bummed out because we were all excited to go there, and then I do that on the first hole, but I birdied 18 to shoot even par. I thought, I played Augusta National in even par. That's not bad. It was cold and wet, and the ball didn't run anywhere. It was hard in a different way than during the tournament. Davis Love III, 20 starts, 2-time runner-up. Our team at North Carolina won the Forest Hills Invitational, and some of the local members at Augusta took us out to play. I think everyone but Jackie Nicklaus had never been there. It was probably 1984. That was a big deal to win that tournament and then get to play Augusta. We didn't get to stay there, but we got to play, and then I don't think I played there again until I got into the tournament in 1988. It was cool, as you would imagine, but then getting to play with your teammates was also cool. It was spring break, and that was a great way to spend part of that week. Basically, the thing I remember is not putting well. Big surprise, huh? And I remember lunch, which turned out to be my favorite thing there. Lunch is always good there. You're never disappointed. Brandt Snedeker, 10 starts, third in 2008. I was a sophomore at Vanderbilt in 2000, and our top 5 on the team got to go down there every year with a couple of alumni who were members. I made par at the last hole to shoot 79. You know, I wanted to play great. I had some great moments. I knocked it in on 13 and 2. I birdied 12. I had a little stretch there. I still remember it to this day. I played the Masters for the first time in 2004, and about 8 years ago, I gave a speech to all the amateurs there, and after I won the FedEx Cup. Billy Payne was there, and I had to admit that I still have the robe from 2004 that I stole from staying upstairs in the crow's nest, and I told Billy that he could send me the bill. I still have the robe, and it's the only one I have in my closet. Mark Leishman, 6 starts, 4th in 2013. My first time I played with Jeff Ogilvy, we flew up there early March from Doral and zipped up there for one day in 2010. It was a really nice day. The course played really long and the greens were really, really fast. What stood out were those greens, and he was trying to help me as much as possible. On 14, I had a putt 10 feet left of the pin, and he bet me $100 that I couldn't leave it short. Well, I thought that was the easiest $100 I was ever going to make. I just tapped it literally an inch sideways, and it must have gone 40 feet past the hole. Big lesson there. I've only been there maybe 2 or 3 times when it wasn't during the tournament. It's the coolest place in the world, and it's even more fun when there's no one around. Francesco Molinari, 7 starts, 19th in 2012. It was the Monday of my first Masters in 2010, and I played with my brother Eduardo, 2005 U.S. Amateur Champion, and Matteo Manacero was there as well. I had been on the course before when my brother needed me to caddy in 2006, but I didn't play it until then. That first day, you're just absorbing the atmosphere and hopefully learning the golf course. None of us really knew what we were doing, so we just tried to enjoy being out there. To have it seen so many times on TV and then you're out there hitting the shots, it's just something to experience.